everybody. It is wheat planting season. I am in the 1955 front wheel assist. This is a 1974 model. They were rated for, I believe it was about 105 PTO horsepower. Maybe it was 103, somewhere right in there. First came out in, I don't think these came out until 70. The 1855 came out in 69. I'd have to look that up to be for sure there. But built through 1974. So this is one of the last ones. Were built into 75 and even 76. This was replaced by the 2105 white in 1974. That's why it was the last year for that. You'll see some 75, 1755. They didn't really have a replacement for that yet in the white. And eventually they come out with the 285 that kind of consolidated both the 1855 and 1755 in one model. They kept making the 2255 up into 1976. That was the last one. The last Oliver. Most of the tractors were silver and black at that point coming down the line. I talked to some former employees one time, and one of them said they'd been making nothing but silver gray tractors for a little bit, and all of a sudden some green ones started coming down the line, and he thought for sure someone had come to their senses and was going to put the Oliver name back on and go back with the green paint. It was that last run of 2255s, most of which got exported. Tractor for boy, it seems like I know this stuff, but I would call it 10 years. Found it in a local farm paper. It was on consignment at a dealer. Went and looked at it. Pretty nice tractor. Finally was able to make a deal on it and get it brought home. Had it for a couple of years and changed the antifreeze, and then I started getting coolant into the crankcase. Ended up being O-ring, sleeve O-rings. I've been told that it had just a little over 1,000 hours on an overhaul, and I would believe that. Most everything was in pretty good shape and there, looked pretty new. Other than it still had the original two-piece wrist pin bushings in it. They reused the old rod bolts. So I'm glad that O-ring started leaking. The block didn't seem to be bad there. My guess is someone, whoever put it together, parked up an O-ring, installed on the sleeve. It leaked a little bit. They put some radiator stop leak in. That took care of the problem. I flushed the system out. I also flushed the stop leak out, and then it started dripping again. It wasn't a profuse leak, but figure it'd be a quick O-ring change. Once I found the other stuff, I did reuse the pistons and sleeves and rings because they were pretty much new and they were the good kind. This thing starts great, but the previous overhaul they had ground the crank on the loose side, what the machinist told me, and so we ended up going another I think we ended up going to 20 under. It was already at 10 under. Put new bearings in it. Did not end up having to do anything to the head. So it's kind of fortunate in a way that that drip started, and I was able to force me to go through the engine and make sure it was updated and gonna hold up to everything I'm gonna do with it. Not that I'm gonna work it hard, but pulling a 30-foot grain drill, at least a conventional drill, is not that much work for it. A couple of hills I got to shift to underdrive. Most of the time I'm pulling in fourth direct, about 2,000 RPM, and it handles it just fine. Built in mid-1974, and that 1855 was built within 10 days of this one, so that's kind of neat. I don't know if that really affects much of anything. I think it's neat. Thought I paid enough for it back in the day. It's probably not that bad of a deal. Circle around. Come peck my eyes out or something. Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. That is an adolescent bald eagle. He's gonna go up in the tree. Hopefully I'm getting good footage of this. I might have to dive under the 1955. Ah, there he goes. But yesterday, there was a dead raccoon right over here. It wasn't there on Monday when I ran the beans. And I come out here yesterday morning, frost on the ground, and disking up this bean stubble, which, by the way, is pretty much, we are dry, powder. Anyways, discing, and here's this big bird sitting in the field. I can tell there's some kind of dead animal there at that point, and we'll give you something to look at while I'm telling my story. Big bird's there. 4225 chases it off, and another bird comes flying out of the hedgerow, and sure enough, it's a bald eagle. Got its white tail and white head, and it's smaller than that adolescent one. They don't get their white feathers until they're about 3 or 4 years old, and so they kind of flew off, but they were apparently fighting over that dead coon, or snack coon as I call it. And right over in here, right up where the 1955 was, they were kind of doing a little bit of an aerial battle, deciding who was going to get it. And the young one might have been bigger, but the old guy showed him who was boss, and the young guy went flying off to the east. I'm sorry, that's the west. And it went off to the west, and the bald eagle came back and munched on that a little bit. Couldn't get close. The 4225 just seemed to scare him off for some reason. Then I saw him back. He was sitting there. The body is gone. I don't know if coyote drug it off or if they got it all ate up, but there's nothing left, so I'm betting a coyote probably drug it off. But I thought that was pretty cool. Wish I could have gotten footage of their little aerial acrobatics yesterday. That was just that was an awesome sight to see. All right, let's return you to your regularly scheduled Oliver stuff. Look at that fall color starting to show. Not sure how well it's going to show up on in the video. Maybe I'll have to get out of the cab, pull over here and get a little better light there. Back, I was raking hay with this in a video, and it would surge idle, and I was kind of suspecting I have a gas lift pump on it that was not putting out enough pressure, and I was wrong, because all I did was change the fuel filter, and it was pretty dirty. The tractor had sat a couple of years I think it was mostly starter issues, which ended up not being much. But change the filter. It's pretty cruddy in there, so I clean up the filter housing. put a can of seafoam in the fuel tank and ran it. It got better. Ran another tank full of seafoam, and by golly, she is idling nice and smooth now. That's, I don't know, 700 RPM, a little over. So I'm thinking the injection pump, it was both sides of the filter that were nasty. I think the fuel kind of started going bad. I'm sure there was crud inside the injection pump, and by golly, that seafoam seemed to do the trick. As always, I appreciate everybody watching. We will see you in the next one. Take care.